In this video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the WrestleMania 26 build-up and the way the card looks so far. An early look at WrestleMania 26, my thoughts on WWE's new program, NXT, and also TNA moving to Monday nights this coming Monday permanently, and a couple of rumors and thoughts of what I think the rating will be for that TNA Impact, and just overall give my thoughts on all that. First, let me give my thoughts on WrestleMania 26, a little early look at the WrestleMania 26 card, and my thoughts on the build for WrestleMania 26 so far. First, let me start with the two world title matches. First being the SmackDown World Title match, which will be Edge versus Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, out of the two title matches, this will be the better one as far as in-ring quality. The other one I feel is going to be good as well with John Cena and Batista, but I think this one will be the better of the two world title matches. This will be for the World Heavyweight Championship, and these two, I would say, match-wise, it's going to be a very good match. Could be an incredible match. These two, just as long as WWE gives them about 20 to 25 minutes and let them showcase them fully to their full abilities, it could be a great match. Now, it could be a little better built up. That's the one thing. Now, Edge coming back, win the Rumble, that was cool to see, but for the most part, other than them two being former, tag partners, that's one thing. They former tag partners with each other. That's a little build right there. But for the most part, it's pretty much just been, cutting edge segment, a couple segments, and Edge keeps on spearing Chris Jericho. That's pretty much been the overall build of the Chris Jericho versus Edge feud. I think the feud could have been built up just a little bit better, but I think they'll pretty much do their talking in the ring. They'll prove, they deserve to be in a world title match at WrestleMania 26 against each other. It'd be a great match. Now, even though Edge won the Royal Rumble, I do not see that match being the main event of the pay-per-view WrestleMania 26. I see them having John Cena versus Batista as the main event for the WWE Championship, mainly just because out of the two world title matches, obviously you're going to have a world title match as the main event. Some people might argue with the retirement versus Shriek match, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Some might argue that maybe you should have that as the main event, since either way that goes, the Shriek's either going to end or Shawn Michaels is going to compete in his last match, at least, storyline wise, even though, all retirement matches, the person that retires always comes back, sometimes 6 months or a year down the line. But some people might argue that for the importance of that should be the main event, but because it's WrestleMania, it's your biggest showcase pay-per-view of the year, the world title needs to be in the main event. There's some exceptions to it sometimes, and I know some people will say, hey, WrestleMania 11 had a football star in LT versus Bam Bam Bigelow as the main event. And that was a terrible idea to have that as the main event, and I'm not comparing the two matches with each other. I'm just saying I think the world title match, no matter what, even as great as the match Shawn Michaels and Undertaker is going to have, because I don't think even Edge and Chris Jericho are even going to have a better match than Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. I think Undertaker and Shawn Michaels have an excellent match. But now let me get back to Batista versus John Cena. The Batista and John Cena match, I would say, has been built up actually pretty good. I actually liked the little segment this past Monday Night Raw, building it up. For a change, you actually saw Batista actually do a pretty good promo, and I think the build-up to it has been pretty good. Now, the idea of, Cena winning the Elimination Chamber, then he loses the title, then Batista's just going to have the title for only a month for John Cena to get it back. That's a little too much, switching the titles back and forth. But in this case, since WWE wanted this to be the world title match at WrestleMania, it kind of makes sense having Batista walk in as champion and Cena walk out as champion, because I think that is the better thing to do with it. And this match will be obviously the main event because it's your two biggest stars in the company. As much as I like Edge and Chris Jericho, and as much as I think that's going to be the superior match as far as world title matches, I think it's going to be better to have Batista and John Cena business-wise in your main event at WrestleMania 26, since they're the most, over guys in your company, the number one and arguably number two guy in your organization. John Cena, number one most marketable guy in wrestling today, and Batista, WWE-wise, thinks, he's about at least number two, if not number three in your organization, and probably is number 2 in the organization. Should be a very good match. Most likely, both titles will change hands with Jericho losing the title to Edge and John Cena regaining the title back from Batista. Then the third major match, which is the match I think everyone's looking forward to, which is the rematch from WrestleMania 25. This will be Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in a WrestleMania 25 rematch. This time around, the stipulation for it is if Shawn Michaels loses this match, he has to retire. If Undertaker loses the match, the streak is over. So either way this goes, it has, big implications for both of them. With Undertaker, pretty much some people could argue that this match either way is kind of retirement versus retirement, because if you end Undertaker's streak, it's like the last thing Undertaker's got in his wrestling career right now. It's been around for so long, and it's one of the big draws for WrestleMania, or at least the thing that everyone talks about every WrestleMania. Is Undertaker's streak going to end? Who's he going to be taking on? And if you have him lose the streak, you're really not going to be able to do anything with him at next year's WrestleMania, because it's not going to have the importance behind it that it once had. And obviously, they're building this feud up to the way it's looking. They're making it seem like Shawn Michaels has got a very good chance to end the streak. With them doing that, obviously, I don't think Shawn Michaels will end the streak. Is it somewhat of a possibility that he could? Yes, there's a little possibility, but I don't think I don't think it will happen. I think Undertaker's streak will stay intact. Shawn Michaels will retire, and either way it goes, both these two, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, have pretty much stated they're already, not even rumor-wise, both of these two will take time off after WrestleMania. So even even though Undertaker most likely will win this match, you probably won't see him after WrestleMania, at least for a little time off. They'll take a little time off like they both did after WrestleMania 25. Should be a great match, and I like the build-up to it. This match is the best as far as build-up. The build-up to it can pretty much be called epic. That's how great the build-up for Undertaker and Shawn Michaels has been so far. Really like the build-up a lot. The promos with Shawn Michaels and all that has been very good so far. Really like it a lot. Then the next match that you kind of could say a major match is the Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon match, which this match, I would say, obviously, wrestling-wise, in-ring-wise, it's not going to be pretty to watch. It's not going to be anything spectacular or anything like that. But I think most people going into it are not expecting to see anything great. I think this is going to be kind of like an attraction, kind of an entertainment-type match. It's going to be at least entertaining to see Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. And this will be kind of the culmination of the whole Montreal screw job and all the Bret screwed Bret, Vince McMahon screwed Bret Hart, and stuff like that. And it'll be the culmination of that, the ending of all that, with Bret Hart defeating Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. And I think it'll be a good closure for the whole entire thing. Bret Hart will obviously be the one to win this. The only thing I would say is I think some of the build-up to it has been lacking a little bit. It's been pretty good, but I think it could have been a little better. That's the only thing I would say. It could have been better, but it's been pretty decent so far, minus the incident with the car where, with the limo, with Bret Hart getting in a limo and his leg gets caught in the door, and now he has a broken leg. I think they could have done something better. If they wanted to go the way where Bret Hart going into the match looked like he couldn't compete and he has a broken leg. It would have been probably better to do something where Batista comes out there, maybe does a couple Batista bombs to Bret Hart, and then Vince McMahon comes out there or is out there while Batista is attacking him, and then just put a chair around his leg, maybe stomp down a couple times, and then work it as that. That's how he broke his leg. I think that would have probably came off a little better than the very terrible, the car backing in the limo, his leg gets broke that way, get caught in the door. I think not only was it bad, just the whole thing of it, the acting of it was the thing that really made it just look really terrible. It just looked terrible. That's the only thing that's really been bad with that feud, I would say. Some stuff has been pretty decent with those two, but I think, it's one of those types of things that I think some people were probably, I'm expecting probably more than what some people probably were expecting, build up promo-wise with the two, but I think it's been pretty good, though. It's some enjoyable stuff with it. Then, thankfully, you got the Money in the Bank match, even though it looks like they're going to be doing a Money in the Bank pay-per-view in, I think, July. They still got the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania. At this point, I would say, unless Kofi Kingston gets added in one of the last two spots, it's looking like Christian has a very good shot at being the one to win the Money in the Bank match this year, which I think will be a good thing to do, is have him win the Money in the Bank match. I mean, he's, very charismatic. He's good on the mic. He's good in the ring, and the crowd likes him a lot. So I think it would be worth having him be world champion. I know he won't hold the title for that long, maybe, 2-3 months, and maybe have him cash it in on Edge, and have them two take on each other, and maybe have them have some type of feud with each other. I think an Edge versus Christian feud, a lot of people would be interested in. I think it will draw pretty well for WWE if they did do it. Then the other match that you got rumored, not rumored, but actually just not official yet, which is Triple H versus Sheamus. We saw at the end of the Raw, Sheamus came out there, attacked Triple H, so you saw the little build-up and starting of the Sheamus versus Triple H feud, their match they're going to have at WrestleMania. And I would say, don't be kind of surprised if Triple H actually might do the job to Sheamus, because it seems like, Triple H in a WrestleMania match against Sheamus, that's really big for Sheamus right there, because when you look at Triple H, this is actually the first time since WrestleMania 17, excluding WrestleMania 23. The only reason why I'm saying excluding WrestleMania 23 is because Triple H was injured that year from a quad injury, so he couldn't compete at WrestleMania 23. So this is the first time since WrestleMania 17 that he's competing in a WrestleMania, and he's not in a world title match. So that shows that Triple H, either Triple H sees something in Sheamus, or for a change, Triple H, wanted to stay out the world title picture for this year's WrestleMania, which that's a good thing to see. This is the first time in a long time he hasn't been involved in a world title match in some way or another at WrestleMania in a long time. Now, it's looking like they might do a Orton versus DiBiase match at WrestleMania, but they're kind of building in a weird way where they're doing something with Cody, and sometimes it looks like, Orton's main focus is Cody, then it looks like his main focus is DiBiase, so they might do something where it's Orton versus DiBiase at WrestleMania, with maybe Cody Rhodes as the guest referee, and then it'll be built around what side is Cody really on. They'll build it up maybe that way or another. That since he's been helping DiBiase recently, maybe when they do the handicap match this Monday night on Raw, they'll have a little dissension with DiBiase and Cody Rhodes, and then it'll be like, really, what side is he on? And then build it up that way or another. That's what I think they'll do with that. And they'll obviously do some Divas match at WrestleMania. They're either going to do a tag team match or another Battle Royal like WrestleMania 25. And if it's a Battle Royal, just expect it to be like a 5 to 10 minute train wreck. That's pretty much what that Battle Royal was last year. They might do something where, at least in the Battle Royal, you might see some, past Divas. Now, that's just me saying that. That's not any rumor that's been put out there yet, but I'm thinking if they go the route of a Battle Royal, they'll get some, past Divas, maybe have, Lita, someone like that, or Trish Stratus compete in the Battle Royal, because one of them, I'm pretty sure WWE could get if they wanted to in some type of Battle Royal type match if they wanted to at WrestleMania 26. So that's my look at WrestleMania 26. What I got to say as far as card-wise, this looks like one of the best WrestleManias on paper in a long time. This could possibly be one of the best WrestleManias on card since maybe WrestleMania 19. That's probably how good it is, because the two world title matches look very good. The Brett and Vince match will at least be entertaining. The Money in the Bank match, I'm sure, should be very good. And then you got Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels with the whole Shriek versus retirement. Is going to be a really emotional match, and it's really going to have, a lot of emotional investment with it that will make the match feel even better than what it actually is. And I think this year they could maybe even top what they did at WrestleMania 25, which a lot of people, last year thought, that match was, a 5-star match of the decade, which it's at least arguable. Myself, I didn't think it was, a 5-star match. I would say probably 4.5 stars, but still a great match. And I think this year could easily be better than last year, because with the stipulation of the match, I think it's going to make them go out there and even perform to a more higher level than what they even did at WrestleMania 25, if that's even possible. Now let me get on to my thoughts on WWE NXT, WWE's new program that's replacing ECW on Sci-Fi. There's been 2 episodes so far, and I gotta say, so far it's been a very enjoyable show. I like the concept of it. It's very good. Now, going into it, the first episode, a lot of us were like, what is this show going to be? The first rumors were like this show was going to be a tough enough show, or this was going to be a reality TV type show mixed in with a little wrestling, and thankfully it's neither one of the two. It has a little things of Tough Enough that you could say maybe, but for the most part it's just another wrestling based program, which is very good, and I like the concept of it. The concept of it, 8 pros mentoring 8 rookies, even though for the most part not all of them are rookies, just they're termed rookies mainly because this is their first time on WWE television, which for the most part, that's what a lot of people consider, that's your rookie year right there, your first year on WWE. And so far, it's been pretty good. They are actually building the show pretty much around Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson. And I know a lot of people dislike The Miz mentoring him and are thinking that if this is WWE, pretty much saying that they think The Miz is a better wrestler than Bryan Danielson. And that is not the case. The thing you got to realize is the reason why they got him with The Miz instead of someone that actually trained him like William Regal, the reason is because The Miz, he's very charismatic, he's good on the mic, he gets a reaction from the crowd pretty much hates him no matter what, and then if you like Daniel Bryan, like the way they've been booking him, he doesn't want to be with The Miz. You got an instant babyface right there, and that would, this wouldn't have worked as good if he was with someone like William Regal. I don't think it would have worked as good, and I think it's been pretty good with Daniel Bryan so far. First night, he took on Chris Jericho, pretty competitive match, some actually good back and forth action. He got in some good offense. About 6-7 minute match, pretty enjoyable. He did lose the match, but nonetheless, he had a good showing against Chris Jericho, which anyone just on their first night having a good showing with Chris Jericho, and obviously now Jericho's the WWE champion. That's a lot to say right there. He's the world heavyweight champion right now of SmackDown. They actually had Daniel Bryan actually go in there and be actually having some offense against him, which was pretty good, and it was pretty entertaining to match. Then his match on NXT this week, he lost again. But even though he's lost his first 2 matches, I think both times they pretty much put him over very well so far. Then as far as the other people on the show that I think will make it, Daniel Bryan's one of the main people they're building the show around. The other person, I would say the second main person they're building the show around, is David Otunga. Now, he's not really that good in the ring. He does need to improve in the ring a lot. I mean, I swear, this guy messes up a spine buster and makes it look really sloppy. But he's very charismatic. For his size, that's one of the main other reasons he'll make it. And not only that, his relationship and being the fiance of Jennifer Hudson, that will help him as well. So those 3 things right there pretty much seal him probably having a job with WWE and probably being one of the 2 main people that win this whole NXT competition. Now, the other 2 people that I see WWE actually doing something with is Wade Barrett. I think they'll actually do something with him as well. He doesn't seem that good in the ring, but for the same reason of David Otunga, because of his size, he'll make it within WWE. At best, he won't make it out, I don't think, in the main eventers, but probably, somewhere in the mid-card, upper mid-card is pretty much where he would make it. Then Justin Gabriel, I think he has a chance to make it as well. Those are the 4 main people that I think will make it out of the show and actually become something in WWE. Now, the other 4 people, I cannot really say the same 4. At least at this point, they haven't really proved much to me, and that's Skip Sheffield. Haven't really seen much in him to see that he would make it, or WWE would actually do something with him other than him being pretty much a jobber or a lower mid-carder at best. Darren Young, the same way. Especially Darren Young. He's really, really bad in the ring. He definitely needs to improve in the ring a lot. And the other 2 people, Michael Tarver, don't see much from him as well either. And then Heath Slater. Now, he's the one person that's kind of in between of the line. Do I think he could make it, or do I don't think he could make it? That's where he pretty much is. Because it's something about him that makes me think that he could possibly make it, but at the same time, it's like he seems kind of generic in some sense as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if he could make it, because I think he has some qualities that could make him make it in WWE, but then there's some categories that, he'll just be someone like one of the edge heads or something like that will not really go anywhere, like Zack Ryder. That's pretty much what I see from him at best. I don't see him really making it that far within WWE. And as far as, like I said, NXT, enjoyed the first 2 episodes so far. It's been a really enjoyable show, and I think it's a very good concept and definitely worth checking out. A lot of us people in the internet wrestling community will just check it out mainly because of Daniel Bryan, but I think it's been actually a pretty entertaining show so far. I mean, the other people, other than Daniel Bryan, a lot of the other people that we don't really know much of, but I think there's some talent in there. I think Justin Gabriel, I think he actually has some talent. Wade Barrett, I don't think he's terrible, but he seems like, the typical muscle guy that Vince McMahon will like. Then on to, TNA Impact. You got the TNA Impact moving permanently to Monday nights this coming Monday. Now, there's been some rumors of possibly RVD being signed to TNA. Right at this point, it's still somewhat of a rumor, but RVD has been posting that there is a very high chance of seeing him in TNA sometime in the future, which makes it seem like there's obviously something that's gone through with him signing to TNA. And Hogan kind of spilled the beans on a radio show, I think a day or 2 ago, about TNA signing RVD, and TNA's acting like with Hogan that he spilled the beans and he wasn't supposed to do it. I don't think that. I think TNA told Hogan to make sure go on this radio show, hype up, TNA Impact for this Monday night, and say you got some big surprises. Maybe even throw a hint and throw out who the big surprise is to, get a lot of hits online and people, find out about it and more people tune into TNA Impact. So I think they meant to do that. As far as what I think, as far as a prediction for the rating this coming Monday, I would say about a 1.3 or a 1.4. Maybe a 1.5, because the one thing is I'm not really, interested in the main event of seeing Hogan and Ric Flair in the ring. I'm a huge fan of Ric Flair. Ric Flair's my favorite wrestler of all time, but Ric Flair and Hogan need to understand they need to finally just hang it up. They can have some involvement in the wrestling industry, like Ric Flair. I like him being with AJ Styles. I don't want TNA to go overboard and make AJ Styles seem like Ric Flair version 2, which they've kind of been on the board of somewhat going towards that route. Hopefully they don't. But I think Ric Flair being with AJ Styles is really going to help AJ Styles as looking like, for casual fans, with Ric Flair being with him, really will put him over as making it seem like he's worthy of being in the main event. Not only that, it will help him on the mic as well. Someone like Ric Flair that is one of the best guys ever on the mic. And Hogan, I'm not a huge fan of Hogan, but Hogan needs to hang it up in the ring as well. The match is Hogan and Abyss teaming up to take on Ric Flair and AJ Styles. Now, since you got Hogan and Ric Flair returning in the ring on live national television, and enough people, if they find out about it, Ric Flair and Hogan will draw. That's the one thing that I can't say about the match. Can't diss the match for, is that it will draw. It will draw casual fans. Us internet fans, people the internet wrestling community really won't like seeing the match because it's not going to be a pretty match at all. It should be TNA having their world champion AJ Styles against maybe someone like Abyss in a singles match, and not having some old veterans that should have hung it up many years ago in the main event of your live Impact. That just doesn't send a good message to TNA being an alternative of WWE, and TNA just needs to realize that at some point. Now, like I said, them two will draw, so that's the reason why I'm saying TNA Impact will probably get a 1.3 or 1.4, and I've already given my thoughts on what I think of TNA moving to Monday nights. I don't think it's a terrible move. I think it might have been a little too early, but who knows? It could possibly work out for them. I'm hoping the best for them, because the more wrestling companies that succeed, and not only that, if TNA succeeds enough on Monday nights, that will cause WWE to improve their product, and TNA will cause them to improve their product as well at some point or another as well. And it's just best for us wrestling fans to have, two wrestling products on Monday night competing against each other, and it's just the win-win for the fans. That's the one thing with it as far as that. And the thing that I said, when I gave my thoughts on them moving to Monday nights, the one problem I still have with it is they're going head-to-head for the 2 hours. That's the one problem they shouldn't have had with TNA Impact on Monday. I think they should have had 1 hour where they wouldn't be opposed to Monday Night Raw starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that would have worked out better, but other than that, I think it's a decent move for TNA, and I hope the best for them, and they do need to improve a lot of things with their company. Hopefully they don't just make this show Monday where it's just a lot of, other, former WWE or former WCW or ECW stars just premiering on their program. Just don't have it be something like that. RVD, I don't have no problem with because I think RVD will be a good fit for TNA. Same with Jeff Hardy. I think those two will be good fits for TNA. But guys, just wanted to come on here, give my thoughts on WrestleMania 26 build-up, NXT, and TNA moving to Monday nights, and my prediction as far as the rating. Like I said, probably a 1.3, 1.4, at the highest a 1.5. And yeah, that's it. Peace.